So this is assignment 1, Introduction to Macroeconomics. So first we have defined what is economics and who is the father of economics. So economics is the study of how individuals, businesses, and government make choices or allocating limited resources to satisfy unlimited human wants. It explains how societies decide what to produce, how to produce, or for whom to produce. Economics is often called the science of choice because it deals with scarcity and decision making. The father of economics is Adam Smith, who in 1776 published his famous book The Wealth of Nations. In this book, he laid down the foundation of classical economics and explained how markets, when guided by the invincible hand, can allocate resources efficiently. Economics has two major branches, microeconomics and macroeconomics. Microeconomics focuses on the behavior of individuals, households, and firms. It studies demand, supply, prices, and production at a smaller scale. Macroeconomics, on the other hand, studies the economy as a whole. It looks at the big picture, such as inflation, unemployment, economic growth, government policies that affect national income. In learning economics, one cannot ignore the 10 basic principles introduced by N. Gregory Mankiw. These principles are divided into three groups. First, how people make decisions. So the first principle is people face trade-offs. Trade-offs meaning choosing one option often requires giving up another. The second principle is the cost of something is what you give up to get it. It is also called opportunity cost. Third principle is rational people think at a margin, meaning decisions are made by comparing small additional costs and benefits. The fourth principle is that people respond to incentives, showing that rewards or punishment shape behavior. Second is the second group is how people interact. So the fifth principle is that trade can make everyone better off because specialization and exchange increase total output. Sixth principle is markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity. Uh, at the invincible hand guides efficient allocation. Seven is that government can sometimes improve market outcomes, especially when there are market failures such as externalities or monopolies. Lastly, how the economy works as a whole. The eighth principle is a country's standard of living depends on its production of goods and services. This shows the importance of productivity. The principle number 9 is that prices rises when government prints too much money, which explains inflation and also it reduces the value of money. Principle 10, the last principle, is that society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment. So next we have the history of macroeconomics. So macroeconomics begins in the early 20th century before the Great Depression of 1930s. So economists mostly focus on microeconomics. They assume that markets would correct themselves in the long run. However, massive unemployment and economic collapse during the Depression proved otherwise. It was John Maynard Keynes, often called the father of macroeconomics, who revolutionized the field in his 1936 book, The General Theory of Employment, Interest, and Money. Keynes argued that government intervention through fiscal and monetary policy is necessary to stabilize the economy during recessions. Every country has macroeconomic concerns and goals. This includes economic growth, low employment, stable price, and a sustainable balance of payment. Economic growth ensures higher living standards, while low unemployment allows people to earn income and live with dignity. Price stabilize prevents inflation from eroding purchasing power. Meanwhile, a stable balance of trade ensures a country does not fall into too much debt. When these goals are achieved, the nation experiences prosperity, stability, and improved welfare for its citizens. When they are not achieved, issues like poverty, instability, and inequality rises. One of the best ways to visualize the economy is through the circular flow model. This model shows the interaction between household and firms. Household provides labor, land, capital to firms in exchange for wages, rent, and profits. Then they use their income to purchase goods and services produced by firms. Money flows in one direction while goods and services and factors of production flow in the other. In a more advanced model, the government and foreign sector are also included. The model teaches us that the economy is interdependent. What households earn is what firms pay, and what firms sell is what households demand. Finally, the law of demand and supply is one of the most fundamental concepts in economics. The law of demand states that other things being equal, when the price of good rises, the quantity demand falls. Kay mahal man. And when the price falls, demand rises. Kay barato man, daghan ang mas mapalit. The law of supply states that when prices of a good increases, then producers are willing to supply more of it. But when the prices falls, they supply less. The interaction of supply and demand determines the equilibrium price and quantity in a market. This principle helps explain why prices fluctuates and how market allocates resources efficiently. So that's all. Thank you.